Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another week of the Sports Shift. I'm Raven A. Troilo, joined here by Brylin Adams. And as another successful NFL season ends, we have all of the most prominent headlines for you right here. Brylin, show them what you got.
Kicking off, the Los Angeles Rams rallied past Burrow and the Bengals to win their first Super Bowl in 22 years. Cooper Kupp was named MVP after catching the game-winning touchdown along with a total of 8 catches for 92 yards. Kupp joins Joe Montana as the only 2 players in NFL history to earn Offensive Player of the Year and Super Bowl MVP in the same season. But along with all the excitement, Ria, Van Jefferson's wife went into labor during the game, and she was rushed out of the stadium onto a stretcher, and then after they were celebrating, Jefferson took his daughter and son, and they were like, we have to go to the hospital, and I was like, wow, what a day for him.
Yeah, how about that birth story? That child's going to be hearing that for the rest of their life, but it's exciting. Very exciting. And what else was exciting this week was Valentine's Day being the next day. Love was certainly in the air. Rams safety Tyler Rapp won't be the only one in his family getting a ring. After earning a Super Bowl ring with a win over the Bengals, Rapp had an engagement ring waiting for his fiancée. Rapp popped the question on the field during the Rams post-game celebration. So a lot of exciting things following right after winning the Super Bowl for the first time in your history. So
imagine that's amazing. But continuing with our Valentine's Day, Simone Biles was proposed to by Houston Texans DB Jonathan Owens. And I was like, oh my goodness, so much is happening. It's just love's in the air.
If there's ever a perfect day to do it, it's probably on Valentine's Day. Like what other day? Or New Year's Eve or New Year's Day.
Yeah,
but,
you know. But according to ESPN.com, the Colts are likely going to trade for or release Wentz before March 18th. That's the date when his $22 million salary for 2022 becomes fully guaranteed, along with a $6.29 million roster bonus, and it appears the Colts have no plans of paying either of those. If Wentz is released prior to March 18th, the Colts will have to pay him $15 million in base salary, which would be shocking development considering they have to give up a first-round pick to get him. So,
you know, I don't know if I'm crazy, but I see a lot of similarities in Wentz's early career and Joe Burrow. When I was watching the Super Bowl the other day, and Joe made that one play, he loves to run the ball, and he kind of got like smushed in between 2 other players, and I'm thinking back to Carson Wentz when he tore his ACL in that one game, and I'm like, is Joe Burrow like all this hype? Like, will he turn out to be like Wentz is right now? Like,
I mean, all the hype for no ring.
I
don't know.
We'll see, but
tell us some more about the Olympics.
Yes, after 11 days of competition in the U.S. remains in the top 5 in the Winter Olympics. The medal count with 8, they have 8 gold, 7 silver, and 4 bronze, ranking in 3rd place behind Germany, and they just keep rising up. So go USA.
Absolutely. And we only have a week left with them. So I mean,
maybe they can make it to that top spot.
Hopefully. Yeah. But oh my gosh, did you see Shaun White? He fell in his last run for his snowboarding. I was like, oh. But, you know, we'll remember his entire career, not just the last one. Right. But moving on to Philadelphia Phillies, the Phillies have added some organizational depth at first base. Josh Ockamy announced on Twitter that he signed a minor league contract with the club. Ockamy was understandably excited in making the announcement. He is a South draft pick of Boston Red Sox in 2014 and played a Triple-A in 2019 and 2021. He hit a .204 with 25 homers and 57 RBIs in 122 games. In 2019 and .225 with 15 homers and 45 RBIs in 98 games in 2021. The pandemic claimed the 2020 minor league season, but the Phillies minor league camp opens during the first week of March, where Ockamy will make his debut. And this one definitely hits home because, you know, he's from Philly and, homegrown.
Yes, it's super home for me because Newman Goretti is my alma mater.
Aww.
So he must have graduated about 4 years before me, but that's super cool to see someone coming out of there and making the big league.
It's so weird. He's like kind of close to our age.
Yeah,
if you think about it.
like about 4 years older. So hopefully we see him in a Phillies jersey soon.
Very soon. That would be nice.
Yes. Well, we're a little light on the Eagles news this offseason, but in a failed mock-up of the notorious Philly special was attempted and failed during Super Bowl 56. Sean McVay drew up a Philly special mock-up adjacent trick play in the third quarter of the Super Bowl 56 on Sunday night versus the Bengals in an attempt to gin up some momentum after Cincinnati had clearly turned the tide with some big splash plays. Take a look at this. It wasn't a direct replica of the faded Eagles play versus the Patriots in Super Bowl 52. The quarterback took the direct snap instead of the running back, but McVay tried an end around leading to a throw to the quarterback. It was fairly similar. Basically, every part of the play backfired, but the offensive line got absolutely trucked, pushing things back towards the play as it developed. Cooper Kupp's throw was hilariously errant, and despite his being under no pressure at all, and Stafford's attempt at a catch was even funnier than Tom Brady's whiff against the Eagles.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if these other teams should continue to try and mimic the Philly special because obviously they're not succeeding in it. I think it's a one and done kind of thing.
I think so, and I think Philly pulled it off at the right time just for them to, show up Tom Brady a little bit. Definitely. But it was a dark and gloomy weekend for the Flyers, but almost felt like an unofficial surrender to the reality of the season not going anywhere. Sean Couturier is done for the remainder of the season. Ryan Ellis is all but there, and Kevin Hayes might join them. Missing 9 players on Saturday, the embattled Flyers sunk to 15 and 24 and 8 overall. The Giroux trade rumors, continue to heat up as disappointing losses persist on. This past weekend, Giroux racked up a season high 22 and 36 seconds minutes in the season high of 22 minutes in the first loss. In the second loss, he played only 21 minutes and 21 seconds, his third most of the season as the Flyers entered the game, missing 2 more players, Rasmus Ristolainen and Derek Brassard, because of injuries. I feel like they just can't catch a break, and it's just not their season, and it's really unfortunate because it's not over yet, which is like hard mentally to keep going.
Definitely.
But the more the Flyers lose, the more frustrating they seem to be getting, and that very well may give Giroux and the Flyers more and more reason to believe a trade is what's best for both sides. Head coach Mike Yeo has nothing but respect for the captain. In true G fashion, he continues to go out and play hard for the group, and that's what's great for us. This week, the Flyers have 5 days of meetings with their pro scouts, so the shaping of their deadline motives is going to pick up. The Orange and Black came back away with at least 1 point last night in their battle against the Penguins. They held the lead 4-2 all the way until 6 minutes left in the third period when the Penguins hit them back-to-back to tie leading, forcing overtime. The Flyers left the Berg with an overtime loss, giving Sidney Crosby a milestone to celebrate with his 500th career goal. They will get right back at it tomorrow at home against the Washington Capitals for a 7 o'clock puck drop.
And I know we talked about this before the show. He could have very well got his 500th goal against the New Jersey Devils.
He could have.
But I think he wanted to do it against the Flyers.
And it made it even sweeter. It was at home.
Yeah. He always plays his best against the Flyers.
So 50 out of 500 of those goals were against the Flyers.
I'm sure they were. But, our Sixers, I'm sure by now you've all heard about the biggest moves made here in Philadelphia in the past week. Ben Simmons is out, and the baddest beard in basketball is in. He participated in his first practice with the team Monday, and according to head coach Doc Rivers, was not limited. James Harden's patience will be required from fans waiting on Hardin's Sixers debut. Hardin will be out through the All-Star break, including the All-Star game itself on Sunday, as he rehabs his left hamstring. A Sixers official said he'll continue treatment and on-court training over the break. But before being traded to the Sixers on Thursday, Hardin missed his last 3 games as a net with left hamstring tightness. His movement did not appear compromised as he took post-practice shots with Tyrese Maxey. Ben Simmons, on the other hand, was also debuted in his Nets gear at practice in Brooklyn on Monday. It will be interesting to see how soon we can see Simmons suited up for his new team, given his previous excuse to the Sixers was to be taking off from basketball for his mental health.
Right. And I don't take mental health lightly, but if you're going to sit there and say that when you're in Philly and then go practice when you become a net, like, it's just like, really? Come on now.
Little sketch. But enough with him. But the Sixers officially introduced Hardin in a press conference at noon on Tuesday. And when he was asked if the team is a contender for the championship this year, his response was simply, "Oh, yes." Well, I'm sure had every fan fired up. They faced the Celtics that night at Wells Fargo Center, which was last night. And aside from Hardin ringing in the bell ahead of the game, the rest was anything but pretty. The Sixers fell 135-87 to the now 34-25 Celtics, who extended their win streak to 9 after last night. Jaylen Brown scored 29 points and Jason Tatum posted 28 for Boston. In just 26 minutes, Joel Embiid had 19 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists. So a serious blowout loss before their final game before the All-Star break, but they look to redeem themselves in a road matchup with the Milwaukee Milwaukee Bucks tomorrow night. I'm already ahead thinking about baseball.
And, you know, playoffs are coming very quickly. They're right around the corner, and especially for our Newman athletes, they will be starting next week. But before we get to that, the women's basketball team fell to in-conference rival, the Cabrini Cavaliers, Monday night, 55-40. Senior Terea Hunt led the team with a double-double, but the Cavs came out with a quick start that the Knights just couldn't even come close to catching. And they could not capitalize on. Our Knights will wrap up their regular season action on Saturday when they travel to Marywood, and tip-off will be at 2 p.m. On the other side, the men's basketball team brought home a win Monday night against Centenary University. Our Knights held the lead for the whole game, and all 5 starters hit double digits, with Jalen Bonds leading the team with 28 points and 13 rebounds. The men continue the last week of regular season play by heading to Cabrini Thursday night to take on the Cavaliers at 7 p.m. So it should be very exciting. Hopefully they can come back with a win, and I'm pretty sure we're getting home advantage first round for the men.
Yeah, they've been doing extremely well, and hopefully they continue to do well in the playoffs. But let's see what Newman's got going on the ice. The women's ice hockey team will finish out their season this weekend playing back-to-back against Manhattanville, 7 p.m. Friday night and 2 p.m. on Saturday for their senior celebration. The men's hockey team continued their overtime streak Friday night against crucial conference clash, the Manhattanville Valiants. Barry Needler lit the lamp off a feed from Nick Martino to give the Knights a 3-2 lead, but the Valiants' potent power play put them back in the game. Heading into overtime on a power play, the Knights had a golden opportunity to win the game. With just 10 seconds left, the hosts buried a shot in the back of the net from a partial breakaway to seal the win. Although the men lost this weekend, they still hold a playoff position. They hit the road this weekend to play Nazareth College and Utica College in hopes of receiving a potentially higher seed for playoffs. I know Utica's going to be a challenge, definitely.
I think they need to beat Nazareth. They need to. I know, like, Utica is definitely going to be tough. We all know that. But Nazareth, I think, will be the crucial game of the weekend for them. But the men's volleyball struggled against Cairn University on home court last night. They fell 3-0. Josiah Melendez tallied 5 kills for the Knights. Jules Moriano helped his team with 12 assists, but it wasn't enough to get the job done. Newman, now with a record of 4-6, head to University of Valley Forge tomorrow night to begin a match slated for 7 p.m. And guess what, Ria?
Oh, I already know what you're going to say.
Spring sports are finally here as the men's lacrosse team heads to Virginia Wesleyan University this Saturday at 1, while the women's team hosts a scrimmage against Holy Family University at 1. So be there or be square. Spring sports are finally here, and hopefully that brings some spring weather as well with it. I'm sick of the cold, but thank you for tuning in this week. We will see you next week.